Alright, what's up, y'all? Welcome to today's day, Season 1, Episode 1, Journey to Level 12. So, pretty much was watching a interview with Gary Vee. I forgot who he was talking to, dude's name, but they're talking about the concept between content versus documenting. And they're talking about how a lot of people get caught up in the content process, what you're going to shoot, super quality editing, expensive equipment, and Gary Vee was talking about how people just get caught up in that too much, and that people should document more, even himself, because he gets caught in situations where he's talking, just having a normal conversation, and he wishes he was recording things. And with everything going on, I think these people kind of shift more towards looking for that raw and authentic type of video. You have raw, uncut footage. And even myself, there's just always so much different things going on, and I get caught up trying to organize it all and figure out, oh, maybe I should put this on page and this on the different page. And in reality, I think it just comes down to documenting the process, especially as I launched a new startup called Desert Bloom. I'll talk about it a little bit more. Actually just signed our first client, the LA Times, so super stoked about that. Definitely going to just start shooting update videos and day-to-day vlogs. We're actually in the middle of working with Cali Vibes right now, doing everything Cannabis Village, sponsorships, private parties backstage. So I'll be doing updates on those as well. All while currently running a fractional CMO agency with my partner Nathan. Pretty much kind of filling gaps right now. We're really focused on working with any companies and startups that just went through their Series A round. A lot of these companies just got funding, but they can't necessarily afford a full-time CMO. Usually costs about $300K a year. So we really kind of come in, figure out what their headaches are, really just try to be the aspirin for them, whether it's digital marketing, paid media, website design, really all of the above. Just kind of filling the gaps where we can. Nathan essentially is the CEO of that company. He's kind of running all things business, tech implementation. I'm the CEO. I act as the CGO, Chief Growth Officer. So anything growth, sales-wise, it's kind of where I come in. And then Alexis is running all operations as our COO. That being said, I think one of the things that I started doing was actually having conversations with, high-profile people in terms of business. One of the most recent interviews that I had with somebody was Travis Rosbach, who is the founder of Hydroflask. Given that it was on a new platform, I didn't really know how to record it, and things happen. Nothing's always perfect. It's part of the process, and none of the audio picked up. That was actually supposed to be the first video that I did, but given the situation, I'm just gonna kind of do a review on what we talked about during that talk, just because it's all about the journey. That being said, one of the main things that we actually talked about, and just to give you guys a little bit of a preface on going into the call, was actually regarding one of the consumer products that we're helping build out. It's in the health and wellness space. It has to do with mushrooms and mushroom supplements and vitamins. And one of the main, I think, takeaways out of it was only a quick 15-20 minute conversation. He had hit me up the day before saying he had some time, so I took it. But one of the main things that we talked about was the idea of seeing what else is out there in terms of branding, how people market. So one of the suggestions he told me was to actually go down the vitamin aisle and look at how these companies are branding, packaging, what's the message that each of them are sending, because these companies spend billions of dollars on figuring out what Pantone color to use. Every color invokes a certain emotion. At the end of the day, it's just trying to get people to buy their product. But these companies spend a lot of time, energy, and effort on these things, so why wouldn't we kind of go out and see what other people are doing? And you can use this strategy across really any industry, whether you're in the entertainment industry, it's general business. Just really look at what other people are doing in your space, figure out what's working, figure out what are people doing, why are they doing it. We will learn a lot that way. And then one of the other things that was on a main topic that I wanted to cover was how to get into brick and mortar stores and how that kind of functions, whether it's really just knocking on the doors and talking to the owners, or if there was a process you need to go to a conference or get connected with the right person. But he mentioned that it really does just come down to door knocking. And I did a little bit of door-to-door sales back in the day, and it does teach you a lot of just like human interaction, just basic sales tactics, how to keep a conversation going. So it really always comes down to just people interactions. How many doors are you knocking on? How many people are you talking to? One of the interesting things though that I didn't think about was when you go to these stores and you ask them like, hey, who's on the shelves? What do your contracts look like? So what is the commission percentage that these mom and pop vitamin stores, and that was actually one of the other things that he talked about, was really focusing on the mom and pop shops, because if you're able to win your local community and your local target audience, you should be able to win a global audience. So one of the main focuses that he said was go after the mom and pop shops, figure out how they're structuring their deals in terms of what they take in, how they take it. And he said the other interesting thing was when you go and talk to these business owners, ask them where they actually cut their deals and like where they find their vitamins. A lot of times they go to conferences or networking events that will lead you in the right direction, not only to other places to place your product, but also to find sales reps that are already selling these products. And that's another great way to build your team and just figure out what other people are doing at the end of the day. And then lastly, the last thing we talked about was leadership and kind of how his leadership evolved. Travis is actually really good guy, just a normal outdoorsy guy at Mr. Adventure, captains a ship, goes and hikes Mount Everest. He really just created the Hydroflask out of necessity, really, at the end of the day, because he just needed to find a quality water bottle that was versatile enough to go on these adventures with him without, his water getting, super hot when he's out surfing or super cold, and he just wanted something to keep the water a consistent temperature. But everything out there, even down to the manufacturing side of things, nobody was, and he specifically wanted a double plated or a double insulated water bottle, and no one was doing it or able to manufacture it at the level that he wanted it at. So all the way from just going to China on a whim and hoping that he found the right manufacturer. But he didn't come from the point is that he didn't come from a business background. He wasn't running multi-million-dollar companies before, or working in a corporate job. He was actually giving dive lessons. And he said as you evolve and you grow, and a company like Hydroflask is just growing so rapidly, he mentioned it, intuition becomes really important, and like to listen to your intuition. If your gut's telling you something, you definitely should listen to it. But obviously in the beginning you're going to be hiring friends, family, just literally anybody you can afford at that moment. And then as you get bigger and you guys start evolving as a company, you mentioned obviously you just want to trim the fat as quick as possible, hire and fire as quick as possible, just because he's a super friendly guy. So he said, he's like, not that he was telling me to be mean or be a dick or something. He just said like you want to be able to hold your ground and still be friendly to people and treat people with respect, but at the same time they need to also respect you, and you need to recognize when people are taking advantage of you, and you got to just cut them when they need to be cut. And then lastly, one of the last questions that I actually asked him that we talked about, asked him what his level 12 moment was. And I plan on asking everybody that I interview this question, and one of the things he mentioned was the first prototype that he got. He actually gave to one of his best friends / neighbors, and he let him use it for a week. And when he came back and told him he needed it to go pitch it to other stores and manufacturers, his friend was like practically crying, not wanting to give it back because it worked so well. And he said at that moment was when he realized he made a product that was going to change his life. And I thought that was really cool. And actually asked him if he had a quote that he wanted people to remember. And this was actually a quote he's used in some of his past interviews that I've heard him do. And it goes, act boldly and unforeseen circumstances will always come to your aid. And if that's not level 12, I don't know what is, because for him to, it came because from him to just decide to go to China this was before Google Translate and before technology, before you could do certain things. He just went out there on a whim, just hoping that he was gonna meet the right person, and just trusting the process. And that when you put yourself out there, just trust that God, the universe, whatever you believe in, whatever that higher power is it's always gonna be beyond your expectations, and it'll all work out at the end of the day. As crazy as it is even right now, as we launched this startup and even the agency and stuff, I had quit my job to just go all in, saved up a little bit, but we had this concept. And if you guys have read 33 Strategies of War, you guys have heard of the concept of burning the boats. And the concept comes from Napoleon. He had this battle on an island, came in with his army on a bunch of boats. They have rations and everything, and they're battling the native tribes on there, and they're actually gonna lose it. His general had come to him, been like, we might need a retreat. Napoleon wasn't having it. Guy went and burned the boats, took out the rations, and said, we're either gonna die or we're gonna win. And they ended up winning the battle. And it's kind of that concept of burning the boats when your back's up against the wall is usually the time that you find yourself working the hardest and really pushing when you really have no other option. So that was kind of what pushed me to just go all in. Everybody I follow usually has a moment where they go all in on something, and you have no other option but to just make it work. And it all ended up working out. Ended up following up with closing the LA Times, which was huge. Super grateful for that opportunity. I don't know if they're gonna ever see this video, maybe they will, but grateful for them giving me the opportunity and trusting me with everything they're doing, from websites, sponsorships, and it's also a little level 12 because right now LA Times is going through it, just like as a company, with all the layoffs going on. I think they laid off like a third of their main editors. The dude that owns it, his stock in his medical company was dropping, so they're revamping. We came in at an opportune time, and it's just kind of that divine timing that comes in, and just trusting the process and trusting that whatever happens it's going to be beyond anything you could have imagined, beyond anything you could have expected, and ultimately it's a little beyond explanation as well, because you don't ever know what's going to happen. There's always going to be the fear of the unknown, but as long as you trust in God and trust the process, should all work out. But I hope you guys like this style of video. You can expect a lot more to come. Obviously with everything going on, probably not going to be editing a lot. I'm just going to start posting. So, hope you guys enjoy. See you at the next one.